Ladies and gentlemen, there they are. Our medalists from Rio 2016 Olympics. Another round of applause. Thank you guys, thank you very much. All right, we can go back to the photographers. There will be an opportunity for photographs at the media room after the media conference. Thank you.
All right, so that's what the crowd have been waiting for. They've been waiting to see the medalists that are here with us today. Of course, Wade van Niekerk is not with us because he'll be taking part in Thursday's Diamond League meets. There are 4 more Diamond League meets left on the calendar, and he's taking part in the one that's going to be taking place on Thursday, which is happening in Lausanne. So he is there along with our silver medalist in the women's javelin, and that is Sunette Viljoen. But otherwise, we've had the bulk of the rugby sevens team who won bronze, and we've had the other medalists joining us here. It's been an amazing morning to be a part of, and you can really see what the medal winning performances of Team South Africa have meant to so many South Africans. Let's go back to the studio now.
Minister of Sport and Recreation, Gert Oosthuizen, to give us a vote of thanks. Let's give him a round of applause.
Thank you so much, Program Director, Minister of Sport and Recreation, my colleague, and all protocol observed. Good morning, Dumela and Legai. Goeiemorgen. Wonderful. Thanks for being here this morning. Let me start, Minister, by thanking everyone that came out today to say welcome to Team South Africa, because they made us all very proud. In fact, we are here today united in our diversity, the rainbow children of Nelson Mandela. This is what we are, a great nation. Thank you to all the sponsors that made it possible for our team to compete and prepare. And thank you, Professor Devotanda, for the check you are still going to give to prepare the team for the next round. Thank you to all the corporates that's buying in to excellence, because this is what we are, a team that are winning. To the Minister of Sport, Minister, I work with you and the department. I'm privileged to be in that position. Thank you so much for the energy that we put in, and that we never have no for an answer. It's always yes if it comes to sport. You put sport first. Thank you to SASCOM. Thank you to the coaches. Thank you to Team South Africa. You made us really proud. And President Sam, you said you'll bring us 10 medals. Yes, we did bring 10 medals, but you never said we'll bring a world record. Thank you for that world record also. Thank you to all of you that came out today. You are all friends of us. You are friends of Team South Africa. Drive home safely. In case you're not a friend of us, I'm not going to tell you how to drive home. Enjoy your day.
Well, that effectively brings to the end this welcome session. I would love to say, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much on behalf of all the athletes, the support that we've seen on social media, the support that we've seen everywhere else from all South Africans, the unity that we've shown has really been fantastic. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Members of the media, let's allow the athletes and the dignitaries to go first, and then we will follow them into the media room for the presentation of the medals and the checks. Thank you very much.
That's exactly the kind of reception that all athletes are looking for once they leave the countries and come back with mission accomplished. The Minister of Sports and Recreation, Fikile Mbalula, there are waxing lyrical on the prowess of Team South Africa, increasing the amount of money that is giving to the gold medalist, the silver medalist, and the bronze medalist, as well as to Wade van Niekerk for breaking that world record. Fantastic stuff, fantastic scenes coming out of OR Tambo International Airport right there.
A very good morning. It's a celebratory morning, isn't it? Tuesday, the 23rd of August, 2016, as our team just arrived at OR Tambo. This is Newsroom, Jumbo Africa, and a very warm welcome to the first hour. I'm Elvis Preslin.
And I'm Renee Vest, and we'll be with you until 12 o'clock today. Of course, stay with us as we broadcast live from our Johannesburg studios here in South Africa to the rest of the African continent. Now, we're also streaming live on our YouTube channel. Now, our focus today is on two issues. The first one is on a teacher who allegedly manipulated and influenced young learners into having sexual relations with him. And the second, of course, focuses on the DA who will govern Johannesburg for the next 5 years.
Well, so you got a double-barrel question today, because the first question we ask you, do you think that teachers who are convicted of sexual misconduct with children must be named and shamed? That's the first question we pose to you. Do they need to be named and shamed? Then the second question, of course, the extraordinary winner of the Democratic Alliance here in Johannesburg. What do you expect from a DA-led metro? That's the second question we pose to you. You can let us know on the Twitter handle as well as on the Facebook page, on the SABC Facebook page at SABC Newsroom. That is the Twitter handle. But first, let's take a look at your news headlines. The South African Olympic team arrives to a hero's welcome after mission accomplished in Rio 2016.
The Ekurhuleni Metro will today hold its first inaugural council meeting to elect the new mayor in what is expected to be yet another closely contested race between ANC and the DA.
And the newly elected Johannesburg Mayor Herman Mashaba says that service delivery and the creation of jobs are his priority in his new post. Those are all your headlines, but before we get to the news, let's find out from Kendall Makamate what's happening on the sports front, and it's all happening at OR Tambo now, Kendall.
Absolutely, and the entire country's focus is on OR Tambo. Team SA has come back and they've done extremely well, with everybody basically singing their praises to the rafters. Fantastic stuff, fantastic scenes we've just seen coming out of OR Tambo as well. Good morning to you. This is what else is coming up in the sports today. A hero's welcome for Team South Africa as it returns from Rio 2016 with mission accomplished. And Team South Africa finishes 5th on the athletics medals table with 2 gold and 2 silver, with only the USA, Kenya, Jamaica and China ahead of it.
Pre-season's a long time, and this one's been an exceptionally long pre-season, so we're all excited for the big kick-off.
And South African football fans are in for a treat as top-flight football makes its return tonight. And that's where we leave it for now. We'll be bringing you all the detail a little later on, but for now, it's back to the main desk for the news.
Thank you very much, Kendall. Now, poverty will be alleviated, basic municipal services will be delivered speedily, and irregular government expenditure will now be a thing of the past. These are the words of the City of Johannesburg's incoming mayor, Herman Mashaba. After a grueling initial council meeting marked by conflict and tragedy last night, the City of Joburg elected a new mayor. Mashaba was endorsed by the Democratic Alliance as a candidate for the position ahead of municipal elections. Shortly after his election, the mayor spoke to SABC News about his plans to speed up change promised by his party during the election campaigning period.
I think if you look at our state of the city, unemployment today, over 800,000 of our people are unemployed, 1 in 3. It's unacceptable. We need to create Johannesburg to be that city that can provide employment opportunities to our people. But it's not the role of government to employ people. Government's role is to create an enabling environment for the private sector to play that role. And for me, how I intend kickstarting this program is to work with small businesses. Small businesses don't have to be card-carrying member of the DA or any other party. I want to give opportunities to all the entrepreneurs. The days of entrepreneurs are over in the city of Johannesburg as of tonight. But one thing for sure, we want to create entrepreneurs that can employ our people. People of Johannesburg, particularly the public servants, let them be aware that I want to create a professional public service, what we call as the DA, Service with Pride in the city of Johannesburg. So as a matter of urgency, I need to do a skills audit, particularly senior management positions, to see whether we've got the right people running these departments. Because we've seen over the years under the ANC government where girlfriends of politicians run departments and so forth. That has got to come to an end. We must employ people based on what they can deliver to the city, not whether they voted for me or not. And we've got to give equal opportunities to our people, and that is really what's going to really be my focus. So anyone who qualifies, they don't have to be nervous about it. And I urge everyone, please stay on, please support us, but please bear in mind, from tomorrow morning when you go to work, from the mayor up to the lowest member of the city's Johannesburg City, we all public servants. The power, our bosses are the voters, and that is what we need to respect. And we hope that South Africa going forward, we've got to live under such dispensation where the voters are the bosses.
Would this clean out phase also include looking into tenders that have been awarded, some that are still pending at this point?
Well, absolutely. I would be failing my city and the residents if I don't look at some of the tenders which are questionable. But at this point in time, being outside, it would be not responsible for me to really make a judgment. But I'll work with my team to ensure that all existing tenders, we investigate them, put in professional people to help me to ensure that all the tenders given prior to us coming into office were given properly and fairly and openly. One thing I can commit and promise people of Johannesburg, tenders under administration, when we issue them out and when we award them, it's going to be an open system where everybody will know. When someone wins the tender, you will know why that particular person won that tender.
Speaking to SABC News this morning, the DA's mayoral candidate and new City of Tshwane Mayor, Salim Zamanga, also outlined his key priorities.
One would be that we need to turn the finances of the city around. You would appreciate the fact that, Leanne, you cannot deliver on anything if you don't have the finances or your finances are not in order. So that's what we need to do. We are also drafting performance agreement contracts that each and every worker in the city is going to have to sign, because we are saying that gone will be the days where employees of the city, just don't care about the job that they're doing. We want to appraise those that are doing a good job, but we also want to reprimand those that are taking the jobs for granted. Gone will be the days where if projects are implemented, they go over time, there's an overspend on budgets, and then projects that are left half done. Gone will be those days, because we are going to make sure that we can hold people liable for each and everything that they're going to be doing. So that will be number 2. But number 3, I want to have a clean, safe, city that is ready for business, because we understand that if you have a clean and safe city, that your administration is clean, you will also be able to start attracting investment back into your city, so that we can have, most of the people that find themselves unemployed right now getting a bit of employment, and that is a priority for me as well. So there needs to be, in the first 100 days, a new feel about where the city is. The city needs to look a little more cleaner than what it is. There needs to be more visible policing by the Metro Police, and with cooperation from SABC, there needs to be visible policing. And we are also saying that we want to start with the maintenance of whatever infrastructure that needs to be maintained, as we'll be rolling out a new infrastructure investment into the informal settlements. That is still a priority for me, to ensure that by the end of the term, there should never be an informal settlement that is still connected on illegally electricity or water. So those are the key priorities for us right now.
Yeah. Also, I can imagine your team of auditors are getting their pencils sharpened and ready to move in and have a look and see the finances. Because, I mean, just having a look at the finances, I'm not going to put a figure to Tshwane in itself, but I mean, between Nelson Mandela Bay, Tshwane and Joburg, we're talking in excess of 5 billion rand that's been misspent, and, you know, on fruitless spending, wasteful expenditure. I know that what you want to come down quite hard on as well is this issue of tenders for friends. And I know that the DA leader as well spoke out quite firmly against this. So how is the system going to run going forward?
Well, look, I mean, Leanne, we'll be looking at the procurement office. I intend shaking up the procurement office. That's number one. But number two, the tender processes. We have said that under our administration, tender processes are going to be opened up to public scrutiny. There will never be tenders that will be awarded, you know, in secrecy on passages and all of that. There's going to be an open platform where members of the public can come and see when the tenders are being adjudicated. That will close the gap where people, you know, are having underhanded deals or things like that. So that is something that we're going to make sure that we take care of. I mean, you would have seen on a number of investigative shows a couple of weeks ago, you know, the rot that is actually taking place in our procurement office. I'm set on cleaning that up. We're going to have a meeting this week still going forward and see how we were able to also clean that. But over and above that, we are saying that there will be contracts that we want to break down into smaller chunks to afford you know, young people or to afford young entrepreneurs that don't have the resources right now to compete on a bigger scale. But we are saying we want to give them an opportunity as well to get onto the ladder of competing for contracts. Therefore, we'll be breaking some of the contracts up into smaller chunks to afford, you know, young entrepreneurs an opportunity, you know, to really also get into the bidding space.
Now, our athletes have just arrived at OR Tambo International. Let's go over to Kendall, who has some more on this.
Renee, thank you very much. You know, having just arrived back in country, the creme de la creme of South Africa's athletes were given the red carpet treatment at the OR Tambo International Airport. With them is senior sports reporter Mnigelo Madala, who's been standing by, eager to give us an understanding of what a great time everybody's having out there, the singing and so on and so forth. Nick, good morning to you. Can you give us an understanding of how exciting it is to be there at the OR Tambo this morning?
Look, Kendall, I think if you were here and your hairs did not stand, then there's something wrong with you. I mean, when these guys walked through, this whole place just erupted with noise, and it was just a joy to watch.
You know, this is the kind of red carpet treatment that all athletes expect and hope for when they come back with mission accomplished, isn't it?
Look, I think the welcome they received today is fit of the performance they put out in Rio. The minister spared no expense in welcoming them, and it was a joy. I mean, you could see on their faces that they felt like heroes, the heroes that they are, and long may that feeling continue, and long may they continue to represent us the way they did.
Now, the sports minister did come in with an open checkbook, it seems. A little earlier, Gideon Sam had spoken to Valen, and she'd asked him, like, you know, the monetary rewards, are they going to come? And he said, you know what, maybe the minister will come feeling happy. And he did exactly that. He offered some more money to all of those medalists.
Look, I don't know if it was an open checkbook, but the minister did throw some money at them. And he's also said that he's pushing to get more money invested in sport. I mean, if you heard earlier, he said he's hoping the Minister of Finance is watching what the team did out in Rio, and he can give more money to sport so that they can produce more athletes who can represent us the way this team did out in Rio.
Now, we know that Wade van Niekerk as well as Sinet Viljoen have gone on to their next athletics meet, the Diamond League, and Castes are probably on their way through there as well. Did you get a sense from the other athletes that they're also raring to go back into competition soon?
Look, I think if I'm an athlete now, I want to strike while the iron is still hot. A guy like Luvo, he went out there and he came back with a silver. And I think while he's still hot, I think he should be looking to participate more in international meets and put his name out there some more and gain the experience that will bode well for Team South Africa moving forward.
Look, Nick, it's quite a feat that's been achieved to get 10 medals, having left looking for 10 medals, 2 golds, so many silvers and bronzes and stuff. Do you get a sense that this is a feat to be repeated and not a fluke?
Sorry, Ken, I didn't get that.
Do you get a sense that this is a feat that our athletes can repeat again and this is not a fluke? Do you get that sense?
Of course. I mean, you can't say it's a fluke. I mean, if we came back with 1 or 2 medals, yeah, you could maybe say, look, they were lucky. But, I mean, to get a haul of 10 medals, it's you can't call that a fluke.
Now, Nick, I want to thank you so much. Look, I know there's quite a lot happening there. What else can we expect to be happening at the OR Tambo over the next 30 to 45 minutes?
I didn't quite get that, Kendall, but I mean, as we are now, the athletes are in a conference room and they're getting awards. And we hope to bring that to you as it happens. So hopefully we can get into that and you can broadcast it to the people and they can see exactly what's going on and the sort of celebration happening at OR Tambo right now.
Nick, thank you so much. Please do keep us updated because we want to share that entire experience with everybody who's watching right now.
Thank you, Ken.
There you have it, Mnikelo Madala, right at OR Tambo right now. Meanwhile, the Sports and Recreation Minister, Fikile Mbalula, has commended the South African team for their outstanding performance in Rio. Speaking at the OR Tambo International Airport, where the team arrived a little while ago, the minister also requested SASCOC to continue to support South African athletes.
Our team has done us proud. Team doctors, coaches, above all athletes, even those who did not win us medals, we saw them fighting for their country. And we want to say to them, from Akani Simbini and to others, you will become heroes next time. And we want to say to Gideon Sam and SASCOC, don't give up on those boys and girls. Keep on supporting them. To our medalists, this is the South Africa we are talking about when we say we are a winning nation. Nelson Mandela's legacy of a winning nation lives on. We are here today at the airport in our numbers, because we wake up early in the morning, 2 a.m. to watch you win. Black and white, purple and green. The Rainbow Nation washed you. So we're very proud of you, boys and girls, for making us proud. We are proud of our gold medalist, Wade van die Kerk and Caster Semenya. Wade van die Kerk could not be with us here today because he has gone to Paris for the Diamond League. But Caster Semenya is here, our golden girl.
Well, there you have it, our golden girls, golden boys, silver boys, golden girls. Well, they're all here, and we celebrate them. Meanwhile, back to news now. The Ekurhuleni Metro on Gauteng's East Rand will hold its inaugural council meeting to elect a mayor following the local government elections 2 weeks ago. The Deputy Trade and Industry Minister, Mzwandile Masina, is challenging the DA mayoral candidate, Caleb Kachalia, for that position. Ekurhuleni became a hung council after no party obtained an outright victory. The African National Congress obtained 48.6% of the votes in Ekurhuleni, which are really not enough to enable it to govern the metro municipality without forming a coalition with other parties. Of the 109 seats it got, or it received, it needs 3 seats to form a government. And with the support from its allies, the African Independent Congress, which secured 4 seats, it could just secure a win. The DA has 77 seats and needs 35 more seats to govern Ekurhuleni. Now, for the latest on this story, we go live now to our SABC reporter, Lahana Totetsi, who is at the Germiston Council chambers. Lahana, a very good morning to you and welcome. Lahana, can you hear me?
Welcome to the Germiston Council chambers. This is where the Ekurhuleni Metro Council will be sitting to elect the Speaker of the Chamber as well as the Mayor of the Metro. I must say, at the moment, what is happening, all political parties are arriving in their numbers, and of course, the people as well are also arriving in their numbers. The situation as it stands now is that once the sitting goes on, that is, the city manager is going to do all the proceedings, after which then there will be a chance to elect the speaker and, of course, the mayor. But I must point out that at the moment, there is no party which has an outright majority to govern the province. As a result, it's now a question again of parties talking to each other to increase their numbers. And there are two parties that seems to be having the bigger numbers, which is the NC and the DA, even though both of them don't have an outright majority, and they would need the smaller party's support in order to win to govern the province. But the proceedings are not yet likely to start now because people are still coming in, and we've been made to understand that the proceedings will start around 10. Remember, the proceedings were supposed to have taken place last week Friday. However, they were postponed today, and it is only today where the people will know who the mayor of the Ekurhuleni will be. Back to you in the studio.
That's our reporter, Lahana Totsetsi. We'll keep you updated on that story, very important one in Ekurhuleni, and we'll keep you updated on the Facebook page, Twitter handles, as well as right here on Channel 404. This is Newsroom. Let's go back to Renee with the news.
Yes, let's take a look at what's happening on social media this hour. We start with our Olympic team, South Africa, who of course arrived at OR Tambo International Airport a little bit early this morning. We saw some beautiful visuals coming out of there this morning. Very proud South Africans. They were met with many fans, some schoolgirls, some diplomats. Everybody was there to congratulate the team. This, of course, after they spent a grueling few weeks in Rio. Now, many have congratulated all of our athletes who competed, as well as our medal winners, who set a new record of 10 medals in total. Then it's all about politics. Hashtag Joburg Mayor is the hashtag to follow. This, of course, is big news for the business capital. Joburg, or Josie, the DA's Herman Mashaba is the city's new mayor, along with Vasco da Gama, who is the council speaker. Of course, there's lots of funny memes going around about that as well. But there is a mixed reaction online. However, this tweet sums it up. Change is hard, but change is good. Now, yesterday we asked you the question, what was your favorite moment of the Rio 2016 Olympics? Let's take a look at what you had to say about that. This tweet coming in from Sibusiso, who says, Caster Semenya could have broken that record. I think she needs to focus on that next time. There's a lovely picture there of our Wade van Niekerk and, of course, the Jamaican favorite, Bolt. And this one comes in from Nyati, who says, these two were my favorite moments, absolutely extraordinary. They are ambassadors of sports. And this one comes from Unati, who says, my favorite moment was when Wade Dreamer broke the world record set by Michael Johnson. Yes, very, very big moment there for South Africans. And this one from Jean-Claude says, the unforgettable moment of Rio Olympic 2016 will definitely be 3 gold medals of Usain Bolt. Caster Semenya, my favorite. Yes, Caster seems to be the favorite for the South African team. They're doing very well. Now, our picture of the day comes from Nzavi, who says, the picture is it's captioned, these are Team South Africa medalists from diverse cultural backgrounds who represented South Africa with pride. Well done to our Olympic team there. And the comment of the day comes from Jonathan Levine, who says, Team SA, you've done South Africa proud. Well done for being awesome ambassadors and your incredible performances. Just the tonic we needed. Of course, South Africa seems to be very proud of our team, and we have every reason to be. Let's take a look at what's happening on the courts, in the courts this morning. We start in Johannesburg, where the case of former Intelligence Minister Ronnie Kasrils is suing Deputy Defence Minister Kebi Mapatswe for defamation after he accused him of setting up President Jacob Zuma for a rape charge. This is expected to continue in the North Gauteng High Court. And in Kimberley, the Speaker of the Northern Cape Legislature, Kenny Moisimang, is expected to appear in the Kimberley Magistrates Court for the beginning of his domestic violence trial. Moisimang is alleged to have kicked his wife in the private parts during an argument in June last year. Now, moving on, last week, let's rather go over to Elvis, who will tell you more about this story.
Well, right now, theme for today. Last week, a 45-year-old teacher from Inkabangeni Secondary School in Ngutu, in the village northern KwaZulu-Natal, they made headlines after a video of him having sex with a 17-year-old pupil in his cottage that went viral on social media. The teacher allegedly manipulated learners between the ages of 14 and 17 over several years, influencing them into having sexual relations with him. According to reports, other girls have come forward to report incidents after the department opened an investigation. 4 of the 6 learners have reportedly received death threats. Meanwhile, the KwaZulu-Natal Education Department has confirmed that one of the victims tried to commit suicide over the weekend. The teacher has since been suspended and a nationwide manhunt is currently underway. Now, to take the story further, we are joined in our Pretoria studios by the spokesperson for the South African Council of Educators, Mr. Thembinkosi Ndlovu. Mr. Ndlovu, very good morning to you and welcome.
Good morning and good morning to your viewers.
Now, as the South African Council of Educators, how do you view these acts by this particular teacher?
We're actually viewing these acts in a very serious light, and we are quite disappointed as council, precisely because we believe teachers should be role models to our learners, and teachers should act as parents to learners. So the activities of this teacher are quite disappointing, and we are viewing them in a very serious light. And we want to indicate that very stern action is going to be taken against this perpetrator.
Just how prevalent are these cases in our schools?
Let me indicate that we're getting more and more reports of this nature, but we also are aware of the fact that some of these cases go unreported. And that's why we're making a call to society, to parents, to learners, to come forward and report these matters so that we can be able to deal with them effectively so.
Are you going to heed SARTU's call to struck the culprit of the teacher's role?
That's part of our process. Is a teacher who engages himself in a love or sexual relation with a learner. The ultimate sentence that the teacher gets is struck off the roll, which simply means the teacher will never be allowed to teach again. And further to that, we'll be submitting the name of the teacher to the Child Protection Register, which has implications that at no point will this teacher be allowed to work with children.
So this can happen even prior to him being found guilty in a court of law?
We would be following our own processes. Remember, when a teacher commits misconduct, there are normally 3 processes that a teacher could face. He could face a disciplinary tribunal by the employer, could face a tribunal by SABC, the professional body, and could face also criminal charges. So we would be proceeding with our own professional processes. If the teacher is found guilty, we strike the teacher off the roll.
Now, something that I've been missing, I haven't seen a comprehensive screening or an assessment process for teachers that are in place before they are hired. Is there such a thing?
Basically, what we have started doing, probably from the beginning of this year, we are vetting all teachers that are getting registered with us, meaning we are checking with the Child Protection Register in terms of whether the teachers are fit and proper to work with children. And that's the process that would be unfolding, because we are looking also at the broader project where we would be able to vet the teachers who are currently in the system, so that we are certain that anybody working with our children is fit and proper to interact with our kids.
Now, we do understand that this particular teacher has been doing this for years. How did he go undetected for so long, you think?
That is why we are calling on members of society to say it is important for them to report such cases. Because the reality of the matter, even learners themselves, if they find themselves abused by teachers, the moment they report, would be able to arrest the situation. We don't believe this matter could have gone up to 6-7 learners if the first learner that faced such abuse was brave enough to report such a case. That is why we're making a call to our parents, to the broader society, to the teaching profession, to say those amongst the teachers who are still continuing with these kinds of activities, please do report them so that as says we are able to deal with them as speedily as possible.
Now, following this particular revelation, Mr. Ndlovu, of sexual abuse by a teacher, what are your next steps to prevent a recurrence of such abuse in any of our schools?
Basically, we are running outreach programs, trying to conscientize our teachers in particular of the importance of them refraining from having any sexual relations with our learners. I must hasten to congratulate the Provincial Department of Education in KwaZulu-Natal for the swift action they took in dealing with this matter, and indicate that we would be meeting with the MEC so that we look at campaigns and strategies that we could employ in conscientizing not only our teachers, but parents and learners of their responsibilities in terms of reporting such matters. But we're also making a call to the broader teaching profession that it is important for us to protect the dignity of our profession, and therefore teachers who are in the know of any of the teachers who are perpetuating these deeds, for us to protect our profession, please come forward, report these matters so that we deal with them efficiently so.
Now, this might be partly unfavorable and probably unfair question to you, but what sort of recourse does the children have in a case like this?
Basically, I am aware that we are having a relationship with the Ted Beck Clinic, and we're hoping that together with the Provincial Department of Education in KZN, we would be able to provide some support to these learners and their families, more especially with the disturbing news that one of the learners wanted to commit suicide. I think we'll need to zoom in and make sure that these kids get the necessary support. And we must indicate it's probably not the only kids that we are looking at. There may be many more others. But we're hoping with the KZN Department of Education, we would be able to move in and provide the support that these kids deserve.
Mr. Ndlovu, thank you so much for your time. That was a spokesperson for the South African Council of Educators, Nkosi Ndlovu, from our Pretoria studios. Now, we're asking you that question today. Should teachers who are convicted of sexual misconduct with children be named and shamed? That's the question we pose to you. Let's take a look at some of your comments. This first one here coming from Lhasa that says, yes, they should be named, arrested, shamed, and their qualifications taken away. They are bad elements to stay within the community, says Lhasa Molo. This one from BM Zwane says, they should be named, shamed, banned, and arrested. Teachers who sleep with students, says BM Zwane, feeling very strongly about that one. And this one from Michael says, I think we must embark to be serious to all lawbreakers. Jail is the best place for them, and minimum sentence must be 30 years. Now, these are some of the comments already that we have for you. You can keep them coming right here on the Twitter handle at SABC Newsroom, as well as on our Facebook page. By the way, if you like us on the Facebook page, then you become part and parcel of the informed. But right now, let's take a look at what Facebook has got for us. And on the Facebook page this hour, Volkswagen and two of its auto parts suppliers were pushing to resolve a contract dispute early on Tuesday. spokespeople said, but they had no progress to report despite 17 hours of talk as the conflict threatens to cost the car maker thousands of vehicles in lost output this week. Then the Chief Executive Officer of ArcelorMittal, Wim de Klerk, says that the company will ensure that it does not engage in any anti-competitive activities ever, following that 1.5 billion rand fine imposed on it by the Competition Commission. That's a big fine, isn't it? And finally, a further decrease in the price of fuel and diesel by 65 cents on average would go a long way to provide relief to farmers who were still struggling financially due to the impact of the drought, an FNB business agricultural economist said yesterday. Now, you can find all of these on our Facebook page. If you like us there, you can obviously make your comment as well on the SABC News website and find us on Newsroom. Let's now take a look at the front pages from around the globe. That's the newspapers, and we're starting off in Europe. And the Times report that China has become the largest crude oil operator in the North Sea, despite boasting that it uses deep water oil rigs as strategic weapons there. China takes control of the North Sea drilling, it says there. Then moving to China, the South China Morning Post says that Hong Kong police will hold unprecedented election security drills next week ahead of the Legislative Council polls. And they will mobilize all regional response teams set up after the 2014 Occupy protests to tackle social or political disturbances. The Post has learned their elite police units on standby. And then finally, in the United Kingdom, The Guardian reports that women earn 18% less than men on average. Now, that's according to a new research that highlights the challenges facing Theresa May in closing Britain's stubbornly wide gender pay gap. Now, there you have it. Those are all your newspapers from around the globe. We'll come back to take a look at some of our papers here in South Africa. But let's now continue with our theme today and the question at heart. The South African Democratic Teachers Union has now called for the toughest action against school teachers, saying that a teacher like that must be struck off the roll. In a statement, SATU said that the video that was shot degrades the profession and called on members of the society to work with the organization to expose such teachers that camouflage as professionals, but demeaning the noble teaching profession. Joining us now in studio is SATU's Vice President for Gender, Dorcas Mpule Dorcas Sekabati. A very good morning to you, Ms.
Good morning.
Now, Mr. Bati, first and foremostly, you have called for this teacher to be struck off the roll. We just spoke to the gentleman before that. It says that that is possible. How do you feel about that?
As an organization, we feel that that teacher must be struck off the roll. In fact, what he did to those learners is very despicable. We want to dissociate ourselves from such teachers, irrespective of their affiliation. Even if it was a member of SAT, we would still call for him to be struck off the roll because it is demeaning. In fact, in SAT, our code of conduct clearly indicates that we shouldn't have such relationships with learners.
Is he a member of SATU?
No, he's not.
The teacher?
No.
Not at all. So what campaigns are you as an organization, are you involved in educating both the learners and teachers against such incidents?
As an organization, we having campaigns. The first campaign that we have is the SATU Friday, where the message is very clear to our members that they should be teaching, be on time at school. But one of the messages in our SATU Friday is teachers must not have sexual relations with learners. However, we also have a program where we educate educators on how to handle learners. That is particularly handled by the desk that I'm heading, which is the gender desk. However, we are also going to be running a program called School-Related Gender-Based Violence, where we would be meeting communities to assist us in terms of dealing with violence at schools, especially that one that is gender-based.
Yes. Now, a study sponsored by UNICEF entitled The Study of School Response to Violence and Harassment of Girls shows that sexual abuse is not limited to dysfunctional schools only, but it cuts across society, whether you're poor, whether you're rich. As an organization that represents the teachers, what are you doing to maybe cut across and make sure that this scourge does not get out of hand?
That's why I am saying what we're going to be doing, we're going to our NEC meeting on Friday and Saturday where we're going to be adopting a program where we would be going to schools, especially...
Every school?
No. It will not be every school, but would be in each and every province.
Are you identifying hotspots in those provinces?
Yes, we're going to identify hotspots in provinces and we would be able to deal with those schools. But not just educators, because this thing is not an issue of educators only. It's an issue about power relations. Therefore, we would need to empower these learners to be able to speak. We would be calling all stakeholders around the schools to be able to assist us to deal with these cases.
Do you think that these acts are prevalent in all schools, or do you think they may be perhaps underreported?
We think they are underreported. Basically, as I said, learners are threatened to keep quiet by educators because of power relations. And maybe we must say it's a blessing in disguise that this video came out for this teacher to be exposed, so that those that are doing it should also be exposed. It must not be limited to this one, but they must be reported, and we must be able to empower our girls to be able to speak.
Now, we spoke about the screening of teachers a little bit earlier. Do you think that enough is being done to ensure that the teachers that's coming through the process, and even members of SATU, are screened to make sure that they are fit and proper for what they're supposed to do?
We don't think so. In fact, the information that we have is this teacher was at another school. He was expelled there for the same thing, and he went to another school. So we don't understand how he ended up being at that school when it is very clear that he is actually a pedophile.
A teacher that does not belong to your organization, which represent the teachers, shouldn't that be a burning light to say that could be a problem?
It is. It is a problem indeed. But it is underreported, I must say. We want to agree with says that these cases are not reported because learners are threatened. It's because the parents are also colluding with teachers to keep quiet, their children to keep quiet in terms of reporting these cases.
Now, finally, your message to other teachers and those out there who are still actively engaging in sexual relations with children in schools, what's your message to them?
Our message is very clear. We're not going to support you as an organization if you're doing these wrong things. But what we are calling is for teachers to refrain from doing this. As parents of those learners, you should be able to first and foremost protect them, because their parents have left them in your hands during the 7 hours. Therefore, what you must do is to protect these young lives.
Is there a number that people can call, maybe to SATU, if they have a problem like this and they can't sort it out themselves?
We don't have a number, but what we're calling for people to do is to call the National Office of SATU to report, and then we'll be able to take those cases. We are very clear. Teachers who are found to be doing this, a proper process must be taken and they must be struck off the roll. And those that the law can be able to deal with them, we think they must be arrested.
Ms. Sekabate, thank you so much for your time and joining us here in studio. That was SATU's Vice President for Gender, Mpule Dorcas Sekabate, in studio. We're asking you that question, of course. What do you think should happen to these type of teachers that we find in our communities? You can also let us know, what do you make of the DA Council here in Johannesburg and Tshwane? What do you expect from them? We'll take a short break and be right back after.
What's wrong with Triple M? What is illegal here? Who is being defrauded here, Trevor?
It is about the best interest of the citizens of this country.
But the citizens are the ones who are playing, who are members or participants in this. If you put in 15,000 rand, after 12 months you get 1.2 million rands. I mean, who wouldn't go for this?
Watch Question Time with me, Mpho Tsedu.
Monday to Thursday at 5:30 p.m. on the SABC News channel.
Africa is growing. As a result, it's also advancing the way it does things.
Any developments in technology can really do a lot to boost growth.
On Network, we'll show you how technology is improving the lives of Africans.
The life of an LED globe is 15 times longer than what they have currently.
We also have new gadgets, games, and the continent's innovative technology ideas. That's Network with Ms. Pumelele Zondi, every Sunday at 19:30 Central African Time.
Keeping you up to date with business developments.
There's no shortage of money in the system. There's a shortage of implementation capacity to actually get things done.
Always on point with news of the day.
May has promised radical social and economic reforms, fueling speculation over the future of current senior figures.
On the ball every time with all sports codes.
The Joburg side already have a quarter-final at home, and a victory against the Argentines will ensure home semi-final.
Accurate weather updates after every bulletin. Stay tuned to News Today at 3 p.m. from Monday to Friday on SABC News.
Well, it's 10:00 hours Central Africa time on this Tuesday, the 23rd of August 2016. This is Newsroom. Jumbo Africa to the second hour, and a very warm welcome. I'm Elvis Preslin.
And I'm Renee Vest, and we will be with you until 12 o'clock today. Of course, stay with us as we broadcast live from our Auckland Park studios here in Johannesburg. We are also streaming live on our YouTube channel. Now, today our focus is on two issues. The first one being on a teacher who allegedly manipulated and influenced young learners into having sexual relations with him. And the second focus is on the DA who will govern Johannesburg for the next 5 years.
So, on the two questions of the day that we ask you, the first one is, should teachers who are convicted of sexual misconduct with children be named and shamed? Now, you expressed already your thoughts to us. You can do so some more. And the second question is, what do you expect from a DA-led metro? This after the DA won Johannesburg last night very late. Let us know on the Twitter handle at SABC Newsroom, as well as on the Facebook page. But first, let's take a look at your news headlines. The South African Olympic team arrives to a hero's welcome after a mission accomplished in Rio 2016.
The Ekurhuleni Metro will today hold its first inaugural council meeting to elect the new mayor in what is expected to be yet another closely contested race between the ANC and the DA.
And the newly elected Johannesburg Mayor Herman Mashaba says that service delivery and the creation of jobs are his priority in his new post. Now, those are all your headlines, but before we get to the news, let's find out from Kendo Makamate what's happening on the sports front.
You know, when you thought the Olympic Games were over, they're certainly not over, because our team has just arrived back and they get red carpet treatment. Phenomenal stuff, beautiful scenes. I don't know what you thought about it, Renee.
I thought it was fantastic, the welcoming. It was very warm and exciting, the welcoming that they received this morning, which is just fantastic.
Yeah, it was, eh?
I mean, people just couldn't contain themselves, you know, with all the athletes arriving. And, of course, 10 medals, 10 out of 10.
You know what? I think that's going to be our new strapline, 10 out of 10. Well done to Team SA. Good morning to you. This is what's coming up in the sports today. A hero's welcome for Team South Africa as it returns from Rio 2016 with mission accomplished. Team South Africa finishes 5th on the athletics medals table with 2 gold and 2 silver, with only the US, Kenya, Jamaica and China ahead of it.
Pre-season's a long time, and this one's been an exceptionally long pre-season, so we're all excited for the big kick-off.
And South African football fans are in for a treat as top flight football makes its return tonight. Now, while all this was going on, the Sports and Recreation Minister, Fikile Mbalula, has commended the South African team for their outstanding performances in the Rio 2016 Olympic Games. Speaking at the OR Tambo International Airport where the team arrived a little while ago, the minister also requested SASCO to continue to support South African athletes.
Our team has done us proud. Team doctors, coaches, above all athletes. Even those who did not win us medals, we saw them fighting for their country. And we want to say to them, from Akani Simbini and to others, you will become heroes next time. And we want to say to Gideon Sam and Saskok, don't give up on those boys and girls. Keep on supporting them. To our medalists, this is the South Africa we are talking about when we say we are a winning nation. Nelson Mandela's legacy of a winning nation lives on. We are here today at the airport in our numbers because we wake up early in the morning, 2 a.m. to watch you win. Black and white, purple and green. The Rainbow Nation washed you. So we're very proud of you, boys and girls, for making us proud. We are proud of our gold medalists, Wade van Niekerk and Caster Semenya. Wade van Niekerk could not be with us here today because he has gone to Paris for the Diamond League. But Caster Semenya is here, our golden girl.
And to those who flew the South African flag high at the Rio Olympics, the minister announced that those that receive medals, the 800-meter world record holder, as well as Wade van Niekerk, will receive the highest amount of extra cash, followed by Caster Semenya.
I know, President Sam, you said you give people 500,000 and all of that, it was agreed. But today when I wake up, I was so happy. I'm deciding to increase. For Wade van Niekerk, on top of the 500,000 for Wade van Niekerk, for breaking the world record, 150,000. Why is it like you are not... Rasmatas, Mr. Christmas is here. And then for Caster Semenya, for showing them flames, 100,000. And then the rest, silver, from silver you get 70 each. And then bronze, you get 50 increase. We are very proud of it. That is on top of what they will get. That is just happiness from South Africa.
There you have it. The minister showing his happiness with his checkbook, handing over more money to the athletes that won gold, silver and bronze. That's where we leave it for now. I'll be back with more sports a little later. For now, it's back to Renee, who's got more news for you.
Thank you, Kendall. Poverty will be alleviated, basic municipal services will be delivered speedily, and irregular government expenditure will now be a thing of the past. These are the words of the city of Joburg's incoming mayor, Herman Mashaba. After a grueling initial council meeting marked by the conflict and tragedy last night, the city of Joburg elected a new mayor. Mashaba was endorsed by the Democratic Alliance as a candidate for the position ahead of municipal elections. Shortly after his election, the mayor spoke to SABC News about his plans to speed up change promised by his party during the election campaigning period.
I think look Our state of the city, unemployment today, over 800,000 of our people are unemployed, 1 in 3. It's unacceptable. We need to create Johannesburg to be that city that can provide employment opportunities to our people. But it's not the role of government to employ people. Government's role is to create an enabling environment for the private sector to play that role. And for me, how I intend kickstarting this program is to work with small businesses. Small businesses don't have to be card-carrying member of the DA or any other party. I want to give opportunities to all the entrepreneurs. The days of the entrepreneurs are over in the city of Johannesburg as of tonight. But one thing for sure, we want to create entrepreneurs that can employ our people. People of Johannesburg, particularly the public servants, let them be aware that I want to create a professional public service, what we call as the DA, Service with Pride in the city of Johannesburg. So as a matter of urgency, I need to do a skills audit, particularly senior management positions, to see whether we've got the right people running these departments. Because we've seen over the years under the ANC government where girls' friends of politicians run departments and so forth. That has got to come to an end. We must employ people based on what they can deliver to the city, not whether they voted for me or not. And we've got to give equal opportunities to our people, and that is really what's going to really be my focus. So anyone who qualifies, they don't have to be nervous about it. And I urge everyone, please stay on, please support us, but please bear in mind, from tomorrow morning when you go to work, from the mayor up to the lowest member of the city's Johannesburg City, we all public servants. The power, our bosses are the voters, and that is what we need to respect. And we hope that South Africa going forward, we've got to live under such dispensation where the voters are the bosses.
Would this clean out phase also include looking into tenders that have been awarded, some that are still pending at this point?
Well, absolutely. I would be failing my city and the residents if I don't look at some of the tenders which are questionable. But at this point in time, being outside, it would be not responsible for me to really make a judgment. But I'll work with my team to ensure that all existing tenders, we investigate them, put in professional people to help me to ensure that all the tenders given prior to us coming into office were given properly and fairly and openly. One thing I can commit and promise people of Johannesburg, tenders under administration, when we issue them out and when we award them, it's going to be an open system where everybody will know. When someone wins the tender, you will know why that particular person won that tender.
Speaking to SABC News this morning, the DA's mayoral candidate and new City of Tshwane Mayor Salim Simanga also outlined his key priorities.
One would be that we need to turn the finances of the city around. You would appreciate the fact that, Leon, you cannot deliver on anything if you don't have the finances or your finances are not in order. So that's what we need to do. We are also drafting performance agreement contracts that each and every worker in the city is going to have to sign, because we are saying that gone will be the days where employees of the city, just don't care about the job that they're doing. We want to appraise those that are doing a good job, but we also want to reprimand those that are taking the jobs for granted. Gone will be the days where if projects are implemented, they go over time, there's an overspend on budgets, and then projects that are left half done. Gone will be those days, because we are going to make sure that we can hold people liable for each and everything that they're going to be doing. So that will be number 2. But number 3, I want to have a clean, safe, city that is ready for business, because we understand that if you have a clean and safe city, that your administration is clean, you will also be able to start attracting investment back into your city, so that we can have, most of the people that find themselves unemployed right now getting a bit of employment, and that is a priority for me as well. So there needs to be, in the first 100 days, a new feel about where the city is. The city needs to look a little more cleaner than what it is. There needs to be more visible policing by the Metro Police, and with cooperation from SABS, there needs to be visible policing. And we are also saying that we want to start with the maintenance of whatever infrastructure that needs to be maintained, as we will be rolling out a new infrastructure investment into the informal settlements. That is still a priority for me, to ensure that by the end of the term, there should never be an informal settlement that is still connected on illegally electricity or water. So those are the key priorities for us right now.
Yeah. Also, I can imagine your team of auditors are getting their pencils sharpened and ready to move in and have a look and see the finances, because, I mean, just having a look at the finances, I'm not going to put a figure to Tshwane in itself, but I mean, between Nelson Mandela Bay, Tshwane and Joburg, we're talking in excess of 5 billion rand that's been misspent, and, you know, on fruitless spending, wasteful expenditure. I know that what you want to come down quite hard on as well is this issue of tenders for friends, and I know that the DA leader as well spoke out quite firmly against this. So how is the system going to run going forward?
Well, look, I mean, Leanne, we'll be looking at the procurement office. I intend shaking up the procurement office. That's number one. But number two, the tender processes. We have said that under our administration, tender processes are going to be opened up to public scrutiny. There will never be tenders that will be awarded you know, in secrecy on passages and all of that. There's going to be an open platform where members of the public can come.
The Ekurhuleni Metro on Gauteng's East Rand is holding its inaugural council meeting to elect a mayor following the local government elections 2 weeks ago. The Deputy Trade and Industry Minister, Mzwandile Masina, is challenging the DA mayoral candidate Caleb Kachiala for the position. Ekurhuleni became a hung council after no party obtained an outright victory. The ANC obtained 48.6% of the votes in Ekurhuleni, which are not enough to enable it to govern the metro municipality without forming a coalition with other parties. These are live visuals from the council chambers of the 109 seats it did receive. It needs 3 seats to form a government, and with support from its allies, the African Independent Congress, which secured 4 seats, it could secure a win. The DA has 77 seats and need 35 more seats to govern Ekurhuleni. Let's now cross live to that event.
Thank you. You can just repeat after me, and then where the name is, then you just say your name, okay? You all have different names, so you're going to say your own name, okay? All right. I, please state your name. Solemnly swear that I will be faithful.
Well, there you have it, the swearing-in ceremony taking place in Ekurhuleni. That's taking place right now as we speak, and there'll be a lot more of that to come, because today is D-Day for Ekurhuleni to find out who is going to be their mayor between the DA and, of course, the ANC. As you know, the Deputy Trade and Industry Minister, Mzwandile Masina, is challenging the DA's mayoral candidate, Caleb Kachiala, for that position, and we'll keep a close eye on that one. We'll dip in and out of the procedures over there. But we'll come back here to studio. We'll take a break right now, and we'll be right back right after that. Or let's see if we can go back there, if the sound is up and running. Okay.
In a transparent manner and to the best of my abilities. I further undertake to, at all times, act in the best interest of the municipality and in such a way that the credibility.
Well, there you have it. The swearing ceremony has begun, and we'll continue to keep you updated on that process there, and of course the election of the mayor a little bit later. Let's take a break now, and we'll be right back after that.
Now, this is Trends, of course, your one-stop serving of all that's juicy and trending in the world of entertainment and showbiz. My name, of course, is Refill Wemwilo.
I'm Dr. Sello Mutaung, and this is Health Talk.
A very good morning and welcome to Media Monitor. I'm your host, Alicia Jolly.
My name is Dumila Matters.
William Mulabati.
My name is Mpo. What time is it? It's question time.
For your daily dose of current affairs, tune in to the SABC News Channel.
Now, KwaZulu-Natal has the highest number of heart and artery-related deaths in the country, 36% more than the national average. Now, this is according to a report on the state of health in South Africa released by a leading South African insurance firm. Now, despite KZN often being touted as a province with plenty of outdoor space and year-round warm weather, the statistics point to a vast majority of citizens failing to live healthy lifestyles. Now, to talk to us about the health of South Africans and lifestyle diseases, now we are joined by Gabriel Extien, a registered dietitian with the Heart and Stroke Foundation, South Africa, in our studios there. Very good morning to you, Gabriel, and welcome.
Good morning, Elvis. Thank you for having me.
First and foremost, tell us, why are South Africans not living a healthy lifestyle?
I think that's quite a complex question. There's lots of different aspects that contribute to that. One of them would definitely be a lack of awareness and a lack of education about what a healthy lifestyle is. But then on the other side, we also need to look at, is the environment enabling? Is it easy to live healthy within the environment that our population lives in? And I think if we look at that, often the case is no. Healthy food is not affordable or available. Being active is not necessarily easy. There might not be spaces for people to exercise safely and easily. So we need to make sure that it's possible for people to live healthy, even if they know how to do it.
Mm-hmm. What are the dangers of lifestyle diseases that we have or in the country?
Well, I think the survey points out some of those very real dangers. We're seeing that this particular medical insurance pays out most of their fees to cardiovascular causes. And that echoes what we see worldwide. We see that heart disease is the number one killer worldwide. In South Africa, it's just behind HIV/AIDS, but we know that those infective numbers are dwindling. So we're going to see that cardiovascular disease, diabetes, and other lifestyle diseases becomes the main cause of death in South Africa within probably the next decade.
Now, lifestyle diseases are preventable, such as diabetes, but why do we see an increase of South Africans living with diabetes?
Yes, I think that's a good question. So when we say preventable, definitely we say up to 80% of lifestyle diseases are preventable. And what we refer to that as diseases before the age of 60, so at working age. And cardiovascular disease is actually fairly stable at the moment because medical care is slightly improving. But what we are seeing is the diseases that are leading to cardiovascular disease, or the conditions, which we look at diabetes, we look at obesity, high blood pressure, inactivity, kidney disease. All these conditions are all in the increase, and that will result in cardiovascular disease also increasing within the next few years.
Now, how can people avoid lifestyle diseases? Is there such a thing? Can they do that?
Yes, well, I think, the name in itself tells us a lot. We're talking about lifestyle diseases, which means they are preventable. If we look at the things that are the most important, yes, it's a healthy diet, trying to maintain a healthy weight, being physically active, which most South Africans are not, and then, of course, also not smoking. And we still see that smoking is particularly high in South Africa, in particular also in certain communities. And all these factors are driving heart disease, diabetes, and other lifestyle diseases.
Now, my grandmother used to say to me, food is important. Now, what type of food should people eat more, and what sort of food should they stay away from?
Yes, I think that is a question, that everybody's trying to answer, and we have to see that in the context of what South Africans are eating at the moment, and we also need to see it in the context of which foods are affordable for South Africans. I think the easiest way to put it is, as you say, what are the foods we should be eating more of? The things that we know are healthy. If we eat more of them, we can delay lifestyle diseases, and those are trying to get more unrefined carbohydrate sources, so whole grains instead of refined grains, instead of sugars, making sure we're eating enough fruit and vegetables, lentils and beans as affordable sources of protein. Also, eggs and dairy are very good sources of protein and have health contributory effects. And then, yes, we need to limit the very salty things, all the added salts into processed foods, all the added fats into processed foods, and sugary beverages being a very particular problem. And then, of course, it's not just about what we eat, but it's also about how much we eat. And we can see that portion sizes are increasing, despite the fact that we are not active enough. And those two do create an imbalance that leads to obesity, which is one of the root causes of lifestyle diseases.
Now, when people talk about being active, they normally think, hey, you have to go into gym, spend about 3 hours every day just to be fit. Is that really the case?
No, that's not the message we want to get across at all. When we talk about activity, we can talk about activity that you have in your normal daily life. And that's part of the problem, is most of us have desk jobs. We don't get around as much as we used to, which means our body doesn't expend as much energy. So we're trying to make up for that with the physical activity doing or the exercise we do. But that does not need to be in a gym. It does not need to be running. Of course, all those things are great examples, but it could be gardening, it could be dancing, it could be walking, whatever can get people moving, get their heart rate up a little bit and get them breathing a bit faster. Then we start calling it moderate physical activity, and that's really what we need more of.
Yeah, so what you can tell people is take a walk. Now, Gabriel, if people want to know more, if they want more information, where can they get this type of information that can keep them healthy?
Yes, people are welcome to contact the Heart and Stroke Foundation. Probably the easiest is to email us at heart@heartfoundation.co.za or go to our website, which is heartfoundation.co.za. And there's lots of information available on the website. And of course, they can contact us personally as well. And maybe just a final note that September month coming up is Heart Awareness Month, which means we are working with one of the leading pharmacies to make it available for people to go for free tests, which means blood pressure, blood cholesterol, blood glucose, which are very, very important numbers. And you don't know what your risk is of these diseases unless you know what these numbers are. So the public should definitely look out for that and make use of it in September.
And where are they going to find it? In shopping malls, or where are they going to find it?
Yes, people can go to any Dis-Chem pharmacy nationwide, and they can go walk in and they can do a free cholesterol test, a free blood glucose test, and a free blood pressure test, as well as a weight and a waist circumference.
That sounds absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much for your time joining us there, Gabriel Eckstein, chatting to us from our studios there, a registered dietitian with the Heart and Stroke Foundation South Africa. And September is going to be good, so you can actually go to a Dis-Chem and actually check whether you are right. You know, check your blood pressure, check everything that you need to check. Now, the question that we posed to you, a very important one, you've seen last night, the mayor, DA mayor here in Johannesburg, will be, of course, Herman Mashaba. And we're asking you, what do you expect from a DA-led metro? Also in Tshwane, we have a DA-led metro, and in the Nelson Mandela Bay metro. What's your thoughts on that? On the Twitter handle at SABC Newsroom, and let me take a look at what you have to say. Unati Grootboom says, change comes in all sort of forms, and this is the beginning of great things to happen. Hashtag Johannesburg. Let's take a look at another one coming up on the screen here. This one from Jean-Claude that says, people don't care about the ANC or the DA. All they want is better lives and the provision of services delivery, and basic needs are taken care of. Well, there you have some of the comments coming through. Now you can keep them coming right here on the Newsroom. Let them come on the Facebook page or the Twitter handle at SABC Newsroom, and we'll read them from there a little bit later so you can join in on the conversation. Let's come back home now. Gauteng's MEC for Economic Development, Environment, Agriculture, as well as Rural Development, Lebogang Maile, has marked the start of the 2016 Township Entrepreneurship Awards. Now this year is the second edition of the Township Entrepreneurship Awards. Earlier this year, 10 businesses were honored at the inaugural awards held at the Nasrec Expo Center. All the nominees received 100,000 Rand cash. Now, what can you not do if you're a small business with that? Now, to talk to us more about the Township Entrepreneurship Awards and to find out how the money was spent, we are now joined by Nondumiso Msomi, the Chief Director of Corporate Communications at the Gauteng Department of Economic Development. A very good morning to you and welcome.
A very good morning to you too as well, and thank you.
100,000 Rand sounds like a whole lot of money for a small business. Were they very happy when they received these prizes, the first winners?
Elated. Mm-hmm. All the nominees received 100,000 Rand, yes. And the category winners received an additional 200,000.
So 300,000 Rand in total. Now, what are the Township Entrepreneurship Awards if people don't know about it yet?
It's a platform that the Gauteng provincial government identified through consulting township businesses since 2014 to recognize and instill confidence in township businesses.
Define township.
A township is any area outside of the urban areas in Gauteng.
So anybody residing in a township outside of the urban areas, you are part and parcel of that grouping.
In all 5 regions of the province.
And you can participate in it.
Yes.
Now, what do you want to achieve with this particular awards?
What we found through the campaign that we held from 2014 was that a lot of businesses indicated that there's a perception that we do not provide professional services and that there's lack of confidence on township businesses. We want to instill that confidence and do indicate to both the private as well as the public sector that township businesses are professional service providers.
Is that all townships we're talking about across the length and breadth of Gauteng?
Yes.
Tshwane as well?
We went to over 65,000 townships and recently also to ensure that we formalize and ensure that township businesses are compliant. We've been to through 104 townships in Tshwane, Eguruleni, the city of Johannesburg, Sidibeng, and the West Rand, yes.
And what have you found when you got to these particular townships? Is the potential there for entrepreneurship?
There's great potential. What we found is obviously, the lack of funding, opportunities for small businesses, obviously lack of collateral to access finance, but mostly is building confidence, and that, yes, we can provide services within our townships.
I don't know if it's urban legend, but many people say that as South Africans, especially black South Africans, we are not entrepreneurship driven. Do you buy into that terminology?
Not at all. Just taking from the group of entrepreneurs that won last year, you do realize that they offer a service, they offer a professional service, and it's quality products and goods. So I don't think that is true. I think that is urban legend, yes.
Entrepreneurship is built on what and how do these entrepreneurs that has become the winners, what have they built their business on?
It's mostly around, a good work ethic, wanting to serve the market, having identified their niche and being able to provide whatever services that they've committed to provide.
And I know it's a while back, but can you maybe just highlight some of the businesses that came through in terms of the awards and what were they that stood out for you?
We had over 250 entries. We're looking forward to more entries actually this year. One of the overall winner actually is a duo in Soweto that runs the auto bike service. Basically, they're offering a service to tourists locally and internationally. The other business that won was one based in Tembisa, which is in the hotel and tourism industry.
Now, the autobike services sounds like a fantastic one. Is that sort of a new business that arrived, or how did they come about?
Interestingly, they've indicated that for the first time in their business, they've entered a number of competitions, have won several competitions, but never in their business life have they been able to attract a cash injection into their business. And the cash injection that they receive from the department enable them to actually expand and explore other avenues within their sector.
Let me venture into this and see if I can qualify the statement in terms of autobike. Is it a bike that's being given to a tourist, or how does it work?
No, it's a tourist service that they offer to take you around all the sites within the township.
Okay, with a bike? Not really.
It's with bikes plus the, what do you call them, the auto ones.
Okay, motorbikes, right?
Not motorbikes, it's your...
it's a normal bicycle that's
normal
got a little
plus
little machine on it, and it can drive you on its own. I see now what you're talking. That sounds like a fantastic business for the township. Now, moving forward, you say you want more entries. Have you seen that type of entries coming through already?
We've seen, yes, several entries across all the townships. We'd want to encourage all entrepreneurs in townships to please enter. We've got boxes across within some of our offices, but they can also enter online on www.townshipentrepreneurshipawards.co.za. And for information, they can reach us on info@townshipentrepreneurshipawards.co.za or call us on 011 085 2001.
You have to give that one to me again. 011
085 2001.
Okay, there we have it. So if anybody wants to enter, they can still do so. Is there still time?
It's open up until the 16th of September. And this year we also looking at a 14 series reality series to take our entrants through to ensure that we don't only give them financial support but also non-financial support.
So it's a reality series, television series that you're going to be recording. Have you started already?
We're exploring.
You're still exploring. Wonderful. Great. Now, looking at the situation at hand, what do you think at the end will this awards achieve in future?
What we would like to see happening is not to have just a process where township businesses are excluded from the mainstream economy. We don't want to run a parallel process. We'd like to see them joining and ensuring that they do participate in the mainstream economy.
What sort of businesses are you looking forward to receive, and is there a particular criteria?
Yes, there is a criteria. We've got 14 categories. The criteria is you have been in business for about 24 months. You have obviously have to run your business in any township within the province. The categories that we've got, it's 14 as I've indicated. It's food and beverages. We've got tourism and creative industries, retail and finance, the services sector, manufacturing, transport, construction, social and community as well. Entrepreneurships also with a disability. That does not exclude them, however, from entering in the other categories. A youth entrepreneur of the year. We'll look also at a woman entrepreneur of the year. We have a lifetime achievement award as well, where we'll be recognizing one of the icons within the township economy.
Okay, no, that sounds absolutely fantastic. So that's a real criteria. And all this information can be found on the website.
On the website.
All right, Nondomiso, thank you so much. And good luck with the entrepreneurs for the year that's coming up. That's the township entrepreneurs that we're talking about. Nondomiso Msomi, she's the Chief Director of Corporate Communications at Gauteng Department of Economic Development. What an interesting topic that was. Now, you can look forward to it and go on the website and find it there. Well, right now, let's take a look at what's happening in the newspapers here on the continent. When we start off in Zimbabwe, where the Herald reports that Zimbabwe yesterday signed a framework agreement with an Austrian construction company, Geiger International, and a Chinese company, China Harbour Engineering. And they're setting the stage for the rehabilitation, the dualization, and the upgrading of the Beitbridge Harare and Harare Chirundu highways. Interesting one. Government seals multi-billion-dollar deal there. Moving to Namibia, the Namibian says that Israeli-born businessman Jacob Alexander has decided to return to the United States of America to deal with the case in which he has been facing, charges, criminal charges that is, since 2006. And then finally, in Nigeria, the Daily Trust reports that the senior special assistant to the Vice President on Media and Publicity, Lola Akande, said in a statement to the correspondent late last night that the economic management team was considering several measures to urgently reform the economy, but they had not yet been communicated to the president. Well, what do you make of that? Well, that's where we got to leave it for now. We'll take a break, and Kendall Makamate will be back with your sports news after that break.
Yeah, it's more of a validation, you know, it's more of like, okay, you're on it, because it's been a dream and a goal from the beginning, like to get here.
The fact that the rest of the world is actually acknowledging the amount of work we put into, you know, into music as Africa as a whole, I think it's fantastic. It's a big one for South Africa too.
The School of Ballet in Nigeria has changed many a mindset in dance.
Saw it a lot on TV, and we looked at it like something that probably could not be taught to us, because we thought it was like a white man dance or probably something it's their culture now. But it actually taught me that it's not just about culture, because dance is a language.
For more arts and entertainment news, catch Trends every Saturday from 12 to 1.
Health Talk unpacks healthy tips to help you to practice healthy living lifestyles.
Now, generally, type 1 is found mostly in children and young adults, and with type 2 diabetes is found mainly in the older generation, and also with an issue of obesity.
Don't have second portions, and then I brought this plate model to show that for both meals, your lunch, your dinner, half a plate should be vegetables.
Within sport, we see the spectrum itself. Most often we see minor head contact injuries, we call them.
Right.
But certainly in sports, the one that a lot of attention is paid to is concussion.
You see, you've got something, boom, but it's uncontrolled. Whereas in soccer, when the guy hits the ball, it's controlled. His neck muscles are controlling it. And that's why they say, for instance, in rugby, the training should be to improve your neck strength.
For more on health, join your host, Dr. Selo Motaung, every Saturday from 9 to 10 a.m.
Welcome back. My name is Kendall Makamat, and I've got your sports on Newsroom. Now, Team South Africa has arrived back to a hero's welcome. Leaving these fair shores 3 weeks ago with a mission in hand, they've come back with mission accomplished. From gold to bronze, they've reclaimed the hearts and minds of their fellow South Africans. Jody Hendricks and Xolele Sochelela were with me to review briefly our performances at the Rio 2016 Games. Let's take a look.
By far the best since 1992 readmission, to go as far as back as 1920. But we always knew that from 2012 we needed to build on from those 6 medals. And for the first time, I think we went into an Olympics meeting without looking into the pool where we would dominate in terms of medals, looking at the swimmers. Now we saw medals from triathlons, we saw medals coming from long jump, Luvu Manyonga. So it was quite I think SASCOC and Athletics South Africa will be pleased by the performance.
Yeah, if I can just add to that, I'm actually a bit disappointed in the way South Africa performed in the pool, because, like Six said in the past, that was where most of our medals came from, and this time we only got 3, not even a gold.
From 2 people?
Yeah, from 2 people. And I think Chad was maybe a bit unlucky not to get, when he came fourth, to get another medal. But yeah, and also no female swimmers. If we look at the pedigree of Penny Haynes of past, I think we can be really disappointed in the way he performed in the pool, and that's maybe something we should build on for Tokyo in 2020.
I think a lot of people would have actually been blinded to the fact that our women's swimming team has never really been that strong. Really, it has always been Penny Haynes, and then after that was Natalie du Toit. And then people thought all of a sudden we've got a strong swimming component to our swim team. But we don't, and now it's being exposed.
Yeah, it has been exposed. I think Marianne Kriel also got a medal, I think, in Sydney in 2000. And it's really disappointing. Like I said, it's something that needs attention, and probably going forward will need to be addressed.
I think there's something that we also need to look at, because last year I covered the Youth Olympics, and there were plenty of female swimmers and young female swimmers and young male swimmers at the Youth Olympics. I think they came back with 40-plus medals, 20 gold medals at the Youth Olympics. What is being done to translate that to the Olympics? I mean, that was just the other day.
Yes.
But, yeah, quite disappointing that we didn't pick up quite a lot of medals when in the pool. But in my opinion, I'm quite pleased, not so pleased with the Blitzbokke, because I before the Olympics even kicked off, said that they should come back with the gold, and they had every single chance to.
I'll tell you what I thought about the Blitzbok, looking at how they'd done over the series, they choked at very key moments. They'd been mugged by the Australians, mugged by Kenya, mugged by a very mediocre all-black side, mugged by Australians. So I wasn't expecting them to get into gold, to be honest. And you know what? They got the bronze that I thought they'd get, because that last match against GB, which they lost, they should have won.
But mugged as well by the Irish not so long ago in the series. I think they would have, some of the Irish guys in the Great Britain side would have, offloaded some of the experience they had, to close down channels in certain areas. And, we can't say because Sanatla wasn't there in that semi-final, things could have gone the other way. But all those players know what it takes, know what it takes to get to a final, and it just didn't happen.
Yeah, if you look at the preparation over the past 4 years, they've been building for this for 4 years. Yes. And a gold medal, I think, would have been a bonus. I definitely thought a silver was within our grasp. So bronze medal, definitely disappointing. I think at the big moment, we just choked. You summed it up perfectly, Kendall. We had ample of opportunities. The one game we lost against Australia, the next game we totally thrashed him. So it was that also consistency in a big tournament like this that cost us a possible gold or silver medal.
Let's talk about the two big names that actually did everything that we expected them to do. They came in with a whole load of expectations on their backs, on their shoulders, and they lit up Rio de Janeiro. First, Wade van Niekerk did the amazing feat of becoming the world champion, who becomes the Olympic champion, who does the unthinkable.
Yeah, with Wade, I thought he was the favourite. I expected a bit more from LaShawn Merritt, actually, but Wade did, for me, the bonus was the world record, breaking the 17-year-old world record. That, for me, I didn't expect that. I didn't know he was in that kind of form. I thought he was a bit easy in the heats and in the semi-finals, and to break a world record in the final of the men's 400 metre is phenomenal, and definitely deserved his gold medal.
The first time I came across Wade was at the Kutsenberg Stadium in Stellenbosch last year. I think the senior national athletics meeting, and what impressed me about him was his composure and his rhythm through the lap of the track. And going into the Olympics, yes, he was dubbed to be the one who will dominate. To break the world record, I still get goosebumps whenever I watch the highlights from that race. Superb effort from him. Particularly in the last 10 or 20 meters of that race, where the guys behind him probably thought they would have had a chance.
The commentator thought he was.
Even the commentator was bamboozled by that. But he managed to get over the line in quite a gap, and he did our country very well.
And he did this at sea level as well, because for a lot of people, sprinting to break records at sea level is actually a fairly difficult feat. And he did it at sea level. Apparently, he and his coach had been actually gunning for a 42.
Yeah, that's one of the things when they... I actually find quite interesting is when they look at locations for future Olympics now, they actually take sea level into consideration, because that determines how many records will be broken. But also another thing when it comes to Wade that we should mention is, of course, his coach, Tannie Antbotha, who also coached Frankie Fredericks to his success in the prime of his career. So I think she also deserves some credit for the way Wade performed at this Olympics.
No, absolutely, because she bulked him up. She got him to bulk up, and it made the difference in that last 100 meters, that last 70 meters, when he started pulling away as opposed to tiring. It made a massive difference.
Diamond League not so far from here, and I think Wade will know that he still has some gas in him to really try and go sub 43.
No, fantastic stuff. The Caster Semenya are going there. Basically, a lot of expectation from South Africans, a lot of support from South Africans. But worse than that, though, was a lot of negativity around her running. And she put her critics, she silenced her critics, put everything to bed, and ran away with the 800-meter gold.
Look, Kendall, before the Olympics even started, we knew that was going to happen, and I, said to myself, I'm not even going to worry about that. I'm not even going to read any reports related to that, because it's been always the case. 2012, it was there. After 2012, Diamond Leagues, IWF meetings, it's always there. She knows it. She knows how to deal with it. And I think she did exceptionally well to look past that, look beyond that, and really carry the country, because the whole country was behind her.
Kendall, I told you on Friday, I think the gold medal is hers to lose. She didn't disappoint, but I think if we take the controversy into... Let's put it into context quickly. And this, we all know what happened after she won the World Championships in 2009.
Yes.
The gender testing, that is permitted within IAAF law. That went, and they couldn't find anything wrong with that. What they did say was that testosterone levels for her as a female was abnormally high. But in the law book, in science, that doesn't give you a competitive edge. So I think all this, well, let's call it bitching and moaning, you know, she's a superb athlete. She won the gold medal. She was the favorite. And I think the others are just sore losers. And some advice for Sebastian Coe, the head of the IAAF, is actually to focus more on the drug and testing, you know, for
yes,
performance-enhancing drugs. Focus on that. Leave Custer alone. She has done nothing out of the ordinary, nothing illegal. Focus on the legal aspects of performance-enhancing
Even the
drugs.
Court of Arbitration for Sport definitely agrees with you.
Yeah.
You know, they say that there was a scientific report that came out that people of African descent have got fast-twitch muscle fibers, and that's why they're the ones who are breaking the sub-10s. In fact, Lemaitre is the only person of Caucasian descent who's ever broken the 10-second barrier in the 100 meters, right? Yeah. It's like saying all those people, the Usain Bolts, the Maurice Greens, the Michael Johnsons, should not do sprints because they've got a natural advantage. Yeah. It's as silly as that.
It's the same thing if you look at the hammer throw or discus. The women, their testosterone levels, those athletes are also abnormally high. So are you going to say somebody with a lower testosterone level cannot compete in the hammer throw or the discus? It's pathetic, actually.
Thank you. Once again, awesome to chat to the both of you. Wrapping up a cracking sporting weekend.
Thank you.
Although you have an analysis from the new generations, Polele Sochelelo as well as Jody Hendricks, on the performances of Team SA out at Rio 2016. Now, the long wait is finally over for football fans as the new ABSA Premiership kicks off tonight with 4 clashes lined up for fans. There will be debuts for some. The pick of the action will be the game between last season's runners-up, Bidvest Wits, and the Soweto Glamour Club, Kaizer Chiefs.
The Sundowns made history last season by getting the most number of points in a 16-team Premier Soccer League season. The Pretoria club finished the league with 71 points, but did not have a their 19-game unbeaten run saw them top of the log for most of the latter part of the season. But last season's runners-up Bidvest Wits are expected to challenge for league honours again.
I think we have a good quality of squad. The players, we're capable of doing anything, you know. And unfortunately, we players towards the end of the season, you know, and it kind of put us like on a low, you know. So everyone is back except the two, James Keane and Paramani, but they've started jogging and everything. So I'm wishing them a quick recovery so that they can rejoin the team.
Another team that cannot be taken lightly is SuperSport United under the guidance of Englishman Stuart Baxter.
Football fans as well as football players. Pre-season's a long time, and this one's been an exceptionally long pre-season, so we're all excited for the big kick-off. And the action comes thick and fast with the league game followed by the MTN8 game, so we're very excited to get going.
SuperSport opened their account against Platinum Stars, who finished in a credible 3rd position last season.
It's been a long wait for the supporters and the football fans, and you know we're looking forward to kick-starting the league, and what a way to start with the MTN8, you know.
Orlando Pirates opened their account at home against Golden Arrows on Wednesday evening.
Yeah, as players, we are very excited because it's that time of the year where we're going back to do our business, as entertaining the supporters and bringing the results home.
All midweek matches start at 7:30. Sfiso Ramara, SABC News, Johannesburg.
Well, here we go. Here's a quick summary of the fixtures to open up the new ABSA Premiership season. Tonight, 4 matches to go. Bidvest Wits against Kaizer Chiefs, and then Cape Town City FC, brand new club, playing Polokwane City, and Baroka FC for the first time ever. They're in elite football in South Africa, playing Ajax Cape Town at the old Peter Mokaba Stadium. Athlone Cape Town is where Chipa United will be playing Free State Stars. And then tomorrow night, we've got Orlando Pirates up against Golden Arrows, and Platinum Stars face off against SuperSport United at the Royal Bafokeng Stadium. And then Maritzburg United, they travel and they play Bloem Celtic in the Free State. All matches kicking off at 7:30 p.m. Welcome, ABSA Premiership. Welcome. That's where we leave it with the sport. Philip Hawkins is standing by to give you the weather update.
Yeah, thank you very much. Well, we're going to start off this weather update by taking a look at Southern Africa as usual.
Now, Southern Africa expecting a rather dry one for today. Yesterday, we were seeing a lot of rainfall extending all the way throughout coastlines and especially throughout that eastern region of the country as well. What we're seeing for today is that low pressure system has passed. It's brought the cold front with it. It's now gone, but it's still leaving behind a little bit of residual rainfall over that far eastern region of both Zimbabwe as well as Mozambique. Other than that, a dry one all the way throughout the rest of Southern Africa. A little bit of cloud cover to be seen here and there, a lot of high-level cloud cover, but in general, that higher pressure system, which we can still see dominating this into tomorrow, is going to cause clear conditions all the way throughout the entire area. In fact, it's going to force that rainfall even further north and up towards the far Pemba areas, the far northern areas there of Mozambique into tomorrow. Let's see what's going on in terms of your temperatures for today. Cape Town at a mild 17 degrees, but the good news is over the next 5 days it is going to rise very, very substantially up to about 27 degrees within the next 5 days. So it's going to be a nice warm one there. Temperatures continuing mild all the way throughout South Africa's eastern regions as a result of that past cold front. Again, that's going to rise very substantially there. Lusaka at 30 degrees up north there. So nice warm ones as we move further and further north. Now, change of season becomes apparent when we take a look here at Central Africa. We're seeing rainfall now reaching down around the Brazzaville area, and as you can see, as we continue into the afternoon, it moves even further south and towards Luanda. Now, that is an indication of the change of season in the southern hemisphere. Here we are going to change from winter into spring, and of course in the northern hemisphere changing over into autumn there. Now let's see what this all means for your temperatures. Brazzaville's at 35 degrees, as is Kinshasa. As we just saw, we're seeing showers and thunder showers all the way down as far south as these regions. Nairobi also expecting showers in areas further north from that, expecting a little bit of a wet one there. It is going to be a very, very hot one as we move into the Middle East and the far northeastern regions of Africa. Here, Cairo expecting a warm one. Clear conditions all the way throughout that area. In fact, rainfall making it only as far north as around the Al Fajr region there. Just missing out in Khartoum, unfortunately, but we should get a little bit of lighter rainfall there this afternoon. Into tomorrow, of course, we're still seeing showers and thunder showers in that region, not making it into the Middle East, not making it particularly far north. So, again, another dry one for the very far northern regions of Africa. There, Cairo, as we said, hot, 37 degrees, 45 in Riyadh, and Mecca peaks at 44 degrees. Back onto continental Africa here, Tripoli peaks at about 29 degrees with temperatures rising as we move towards Marrakesh. But as you can see, a little bit of rainfall forecast in that area. Lots of rainfall, as usual, all the way down around the West African southern coastline. And as we continue into this afternoon and move into tomorrow, going to see that progressing a lot further north and eventually including Bamako and Niamey, the surrounding areas expecting showers and thunder showers. Very quickly, we look at your temperatures here. As we said, Marrakesh, a 40-degree maximum, very warm conditions there. Showers and thunder showers, but warm all the way throughout West Africa's southern coastline. This is where we're going to leave your weather for now. But do stay tuned. There's a lot more coming up.
Thank you very much, Phil. We're now across live to Parliament, where the Parliament Portfolio Committee on Communications is discussing the latest developments, the editorial policies at the SABC.
It's not actually a loss. It is the cost of delivering public mandate. I spent 3 years at the AG Auditing Department of Health, and I'll give you an example, just to make this concept simpler. If you walk to a public hospital and say, you've got a problem with your head, it's a neurosurgical procedure, it could cost you 250,000 rands at a minimum for that procedure in a private entity. For Netcare, let's say Netcare, it could cost you in that region, or even more. Netcare will bill your medical aid in excess of 250 million. 250,000, let's argue 350,000. They bill you the cost of medicines, the specialists and so on, comes to 250. So Netcare recognizes a profit on that surgical procedure. Now you go to Grooteskill up the road here. Specialist who works in Netcare is going to do the same things in Grooteskill. So the cost is going to be 250,000. But the revenue that you'd pay, because it's a public hospital, may be limited to that admin fee. I think it used to be 20 rands. I don't know what it is now, that you pay for, the books. So through the commercial prism, somebody will say, Grooteskill is making losses. It's a disaster. But it's not a disaster. That's the cost of public mandate. It's got to deliver it. It has no option. While Netcare is making a profit. I have challenged our colleagues in the media and said, just for 3 months, please just try and broadcast sports, and we see how you do. Just broadcast sports. Wherein you go and buy rights for 90 million, knowing that you will recover 15 to 20 million. Try it. You will not get out of the door of that boardroom because the shareholders are going to drive you away. Unfortunately, it's the state, the public, it's the people. So we have to deliver it. So we are running a juggling game here where the funds are from commercial sources and then we deploy them to the public good. Unfortunately, we cannot manage the cost of delivering public good because we are net takers of the cost of sports rights. We are net takers. The past elections, we budgeted 32 million rands to run those elections. We got 0. If Mr. Claudi there, who has become, an object of of interest in the media, I see on Fridays he also gets a few emails. If he hadn't raised 15 million, we would have spent 30 million from our reserves for that exercise. And remember, with elections, you don't make so much money from there. So we're saying, if the SABC's public mandate is not funded from the fiscus, what can we do? So as the SABC, we are going out and doing a lot of work to try and raise funds. And that's why the strategic partnerships that we are talking about, wherein we raise funds, and the CEO is the one driving those issues. You can't come to the SABC, we'll show you. Billions. $1 billion also that is raised is just to plug that gap. I challenge anybody here to say that they can actually deliver a profit at the SABC without cutting sports, without not broadcasting events of national interest. This is the first board, probably, that has consciously decided to invest in events of national interest, whatever the cost. So when you look at the losses and so on that you are being talked about, it's because we have taken a conscious decision that we'll do that. Arguments are, no, but in the past, 2013, there was a profit. I say, please, you cannot read financial statements without first understanding what is in the audit report. 2013, the AG is saying, I have walked away from this opinion. I'm not giving you an opinion. These financials are too chaotic that I can't make an opinion myself. And then there's a profit there. And that is now a benchmark of the press to tell me that, no, the financial situation is getting worse. How does somebody tell you, be careful of 9 issues? There are so many that have walked away from an opinion, and there's a profit under there. And you say, aren't you seeing the profit? It doesn't make sense. And we're telling you right now, 3 qualifications last year, we posted a net loss of about 380 million. Last year's financials before restatement, last year. And somebody saying, no, but I'm comparing a profit there with disclaimed. The Auditor General is warning you, don't. You're on your own if you make decisions. And we're telling you here, with a limited number of qualifications, this is the loss. We're saying that the SABC is going to continue delivering on its public mandate. It has challenges with funding that public mandate because in my example that I've illustrated in the medical case, is that the revenue which should be plugged from the fiscus would really think that's where it should come from because it's events of national interest. Commercially, if we decided to deliver a profit tomorrow, we can. I simply switch off sport. And tomorrow you'll have 600 million profit. But at what cost to the public? I could even switch off news. And you'd have $1 billion in profit. But you can't do that.
Can you wind up, please?
Yes. So I think just to end here, we need to ask, what exactly is the problem at the SABC? Because people have framed certain problems. But this is what I need us to understand. The first thing, we have heard of requests to reverse the ban on reading of newspaper headlines on SABC radio and TV. Newspapers are commercial entities. They want to sit on the SABC platform and get free coverage. And we're saying we need becoming expensive. We need. So if you want free advertising at the SABC, pay for it. That's what we're saying. Second thing, we get requests. The SABC, when are you selling Metro FM, 5FM? When are you selling your property in Sea Point? And we're saying, who told you? We can't sell our cash cow. So we don't know whether some of these the information that is being so-called leaked from sources is to create a situation of chaos, to actually answer those questions in the affirmative, selling of Metro FM and so on. Third issue that we're talking about, we are going to change the way acquisitions at the SABC happens because there's no transformation, especially in the supply of technology and IT. I can challenge you the number of previously disadvantaged companies that are delivering in that space 22 years after is not representative of the population. Those are issues that we are going to change, and it's probably causing the chaos. The final one and last one that I need to talk about is we are saying that we are rationalizing the balance sheet of the SABC. We are looking at the balance sheet and want it to reflect the business of broadcasting. One of the issues that we're looking at is the post-retirement benefits. It sits there as a liability of 1 billion, and we say we're going to investigate it and say, look at it and say, does it make sense to have a contribution plan or a defined benefit plan? And you notice that when you start talking about these things, IT, whatever, you know, those dark corners, then you get questions on Thursday. If you turn them tighter, you get them on Friday, and so on. So we are saying that we are going to do these changes because it's the right thing to do. And the last one, Chairperson, is we are talking about 4 people, as the ministers alluded to, who were suspended, or rather dismissed, but are now back. We dismissed 123 employees for medical aid fraud. I want that demand to also probably stretch in that area. 123. Yes, medical aid fraud. 123. So we're just saying that we are going to still continue with disciplinary issues insofar as staff members go against the code of the SABC. Fraud, breaching confidentiality, and so on, it will continue. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Aguma. I know a number of them like to call you James. Thank you very much. Members who don't have time, and if we don't want to be unfair to ICASA, because we left to break and the sitting is at 2 o'clock. But it doesn't close the discussions. Can we, Honorable Van Schalkwyk, Honorable Kekana, Honorable Van Dam, Honorable Sedi. Thank you, sir. Honorable Lerumo. Over to you.
Thank you, Chairperson. First of all, I would like to appreciate the broad overview and clarifications given by the Minister who is the accounting authority of the department and the entities under her, and who we expect to perform her duties as required, including to account for the entities and take full blame for anything happening within the entities. Then I think it's important, given that it's the public broadcaster, and we shouldn't shy away from certain things that has happened or that has been continuously in the public domain during the past few months. So I would like to pose the question to the Minister and the entity to enlighten us on the issue of the SABC freelancer who in some pockets of the community are assumed to be not reinstated. Just give us some clarification for those of us who doesn't understand the issue quite clearly. Also, if you can give us some insight into the resignation of Mr. Matthews, who also left. Then, as a last point, seeing that we have time limitations, I would like to make it clear that in terms of the South African labor law legislations, it is required of all the organizations, employee organizations, to abide by the relevant labor legislations within our country. And the SABC is no different. As has been mentioned, an observation that I've already made also is that there has been a big media frenzy around the suspension, dismissal, reinstatement of these 8 employees, whereas no one reaped a word against the 123 employees dismissed last year. Also, that we acknowledge that from time to time, taking into account that SABC is a very big organization with more than 5,000 employees, there will be disciplinary codes and procedures that needs to be implemented, and internal procedures needs to be followed. And I think from outside, we should also respect that, but not allow that the labor legislations are not being implemented. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Chairperson. My name is Maisele Gekane. Let me start by saying that I really appreciate the report from the Minister and the board of SABC and the management. The clarity that was given is amazing, because South Africans were misled. Our journalists made the public to believe that there is a policy changes, while there is not. There was only a decision in the boardroom, and they know that those decisions happened every day, even before some of us were born. But then they went to the media, choose to be unpatriotic to their country, telling lies. I think sometimes it's true that through our labor relations laws, such mishaps needs to be dealt with. Now, they will tell us about the selection of issues as a censoring. It's bad if people will want to capture the SABC through lies. Now you can see that it's clear. The DA will represent only 4 whites, but the people who were dismissed were 8. But anyway, it's their right also. what needed in this country is to expose lies, Minister. And this committee will not tolerate such behavior. We will make sure that all the time we'll tell the people the truth of what exactly is happening in South Africa. Now we know where SABC is. I'm shocked now to hear from the board member to say that the chairperson of the board is the professor. The deputy is advocate. While the public was told that is a bunch of uneducated people there. CFO, you are a chartered accountant, but people were made to believe that you are a standard 5 girl. You see? Then it shows that this country has people with hidden agendas to discredit the government of the ruling party, the ANC. Maybe, Mr. Aguma, you need to tell us, unpack, how do you get this money? And where do you get it sometime? Thank you very much, the management, especially Mr. Claudi and Aguma, for making sure that the SABC is always supporting the special projects. I didn't know. I thought that all the time is parliament or government that is giving them money to do that. So today now I know that elections, funerals of the VIPs and everything is through the SABC. And the budget that we are giving SABC, I think the country deserves to know the truth. From the government, they're getting only 2%, something like 150 million. People must know the truth. They deserve to know the truth. We are giving them 2%. All those monies, they are raised by the leadership of SABC. And it's the first time for sure the SABC ran without many deaths. Let's believe that in future, journalists will stick to their ethics. They will know exactly what to report about. Because what we are getting from the management and the minister is not what we are reading every day in the newspapers about SABC. It's totally different. Totally different. And, Chair, I just want to ask a few questions. But because of time, I will limit them to one or two. I wanted to understand from the management, how are they going to deal with, because we heard that there will be the banning of a liquor advert. I wanted to understand how are they going to deal with that, because in watching TV every day, you will see that what is in the adverts, in the prime time, mostly is liquor. So I just want to understand how are they going to deal with this, and what is the impact that is going to cost to SABC. And number two, the issue of audit. Number three, maybe to understand how many consultants do you have. Number four, how many vacancies do you have? Then I will pause here. Maybe I will come back. Thank you very much, Chair.
Chairperson, I don't even know where to start. We seriously need a full-scale inquiry into the SABC. From the 3 presentations that we've heard, I cannot, in good conscience, as a member of parliament elected to conduct oversight over this department, and go home and feel I have done my job. I do not feel that the situation at the SABC is right. We have to discharge of our constitutional duty as this committee to conduct a proper inquiry. We need to invite the minister, the full SABC board. We need to invite stakeholders in the industry. We need to invite NGOs. We need to invite the unions. I am absolutely not satisfied with what I've heard here. Now, to deal with the individual presentations, sir, from the SABC board, it is laughable that you would come here and tell us that you must be lauded for, doing your job, for making sure that SABC stations are not haven't been taken off air. We are not here going to celebrate you for doing the bare minimum of your job. As the SABC board, you have failed dismally in your duties to conduct oversight over the SABC. In my opinion, all of you should be fired, and this committee should appoint a new board which is going to do their job, because you guys have failed to do your job. There was utter chaos, and chaos is the right word, Mr. Aguma. There was utter chaos at the SABC during the election. Staff were fired, you lost court cases, decisions were made about the SABC, about canning shows. It was utter chaos for a rank amateur hour at the SABC. So I do not think you should be congratulated. You do not deserve congratulations as the SABC board. You have failed, and you have failed dismally. Mr. Mutambi, Minister Mutambi, sorry, what did I say?
You said Mr.
Okay, yes, Minister Mutambi. I find it also quite appalling that you spent the first part of your presentation attacking the media, attacking NGOs. In your role as a communications minister, you were supposed to have a good working relationship with the media. You're not there to be attacking the media. You should, if you feel that there are problems that need to be fixed, you need to address those problems instead of attacking. And it is actually quite incorrect for you to say that in our memorandum we said we only support white journalists. That is a lie, and you know it's a lie. Mr. Aguma, you said in the beginning of your presentation, you can't talk about the financials at the SABC. Then you spent a full half an hour talking about the financials at the SABC. So I've got a lot of questions about the finances of the SABC, to which I expect full answers, because quite clearly you're quite happy to talk about the finances. So please do give those answers. And Chair, I have so many questions, and there's simply no time. This meeting is just not enough to deal with the issues at the SABC. What I will do instead is just pick out a few of the questions. I have so many. Right. The editorial policy. Minister, you and I have had plenty of engagement about this. You're once again misleading the public about this. This is what happened. The SABC announced that there was going to be a revision of the editorial policy. You conducted initial consultation. Indeed you did. That is absolutely correct. But after that initial consultation, the SABC announced by way of a press statement that there will be a draft editorial policy published for public consultation. So therefore, after you'd received the initial consultation, you're going to put together a document which would be the draft policy, which would be put out for comment. That never happened. There was never a draft policy put out. So you went back on a commitment for public consultation in that regard. The initial consultation is not what we're talking about. It is when a statement put out by Graham Welch, I think his name was, saying there would be a draft policy. That never happened. And secondly, if I had not submitted a parliamentary question asking about the editorial policy, you would have never announced to the public that there was a new editorial policy. I only found out months later, by way of that parliamentary question, that there was a new policy. So that policy was approved in secret. There was not enough public consultation, and you know that is the truth. My question then is, why was there no draft policy published, as was a commitment from the SABC? Why was there not a document saying this is the policy that we are suggesting for the SABC as an editorial policy, and we would like that document to have comment? Why didn't that happen? And then also, the financial, okay, so I'm just trying to find questions to ask because I've got so many of them. Mr. Aguma, on the financial position of the SABC, Minister made mention of 265 million in claims. I couldn't quite catch in your presentation what that related to. So is that claims from dismissed staff, or can you just provide clarity on that? And then we've always asked the question about the amount set aside by the SABC for your contingent liabilities. So that's the fund that you dip into when you're in court, and you're in court a lot. You're in court quite a bit. Lots of matters. So you spend quite a lot of money on court cases. How much is that budget that you have for contingent liabilities? And how much has been spent, number one, on disciplinary matters related at the SABC, and on the court cases of the COO, Hlaudi Motsoeneng? Please give us those figures. And then it was an allegation that the SABC concluded a settlement with the former acting CEO, Frans Matlala, that he was handed a settlement. What was that amount? And why was he dismissed? Why was he disciplined? To date, the minister, despite repeated questions, has refused to tell us what was the reason that CEO was suspended. What happened? Why was he given money? How much was he given money? We need to know that as Parliament, the SABC and the minister cannot keep that secret. And then the issue with the CCC and the ban on the coverage of live protests, of violent protests. The minister said the CCC found that you didn't earn your decision. Minister, have you read the judgment? The CCC found that you are that decision was quite wrong, and you were quite wrong in that decision. So what have you done since then? I didn't get that from your presentation. What have you done to implement that judgment? Is the SABC now making sure that you give South Africa full coverage of what's happening on the ground? Chair, those are just a couple of my questions. Like I said, there's many more. We need that inquiry. Thank you.
Honorable Tsedi, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Let me as well welcome all the presentations and the report from the Minister, Chairperson. But I have two questions, but I need to raise the following things before. If there are some honorable members who, while they were claiming to be representing this committee, promise people that they are coming here to push for an inquiry about the affairs of the SABC, they must know upfront that they do not have our support. Because from the presentation that we received this morning, Chair, it becomes very, very clear that there's absolutely no reason why we must go that particular route. The minister in a presentation referred to this memorandum. It's indeed a shame, especially from people who claim to be representing a non-racial party. Singling out Steenkamp, Pillay, Krege, and Venter out of the 8 fired journalists of the SABC. It confirms what we've all been saying, that this party represents the interest of white people. You only talk about black people when you want their votes. So it's high time that our people must know the kind of a party that we're talking about. Two issues, as I've indicated, Chair. And one is prompted by the slide that talks to the 30 million as raised by the SABC through strategic partnership, especially for elections purposes. And I'm tempted to ask a question, Chair. because the ruling party has taken a resolution around the increment of funding for the SABC, so that it must then be able to execute its mandate very clearly. This committee as well has reiterated a resolution on a number of occasions to attend to this particular issue. And I'll appreciate if Minister in the SABC were then able to be briefed on progress with regard to that particular issue. And if I remember, we also raised this matter very, very sharply during the BRRR process, that this matter need to be attended to. The last one, Chair, if you can as well share with us your strategy on the collection of license fees, because I know from what you have been saying, this is one other area that we need to attend to very, very seriously. So let me pause, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Tsedi. Honorable Mulder.
Chairperson, thank you very much for the opportunity. I'm technically not a member of this committee, but as you know, the rules allow me as a member of Parliament to attend and to take part. I was a member of this committee for 15 years, the first 15 years, and there's a lot of things that happened during time. So let me start with saying that I do have problems with certain newspapers, with certain commercial radio stations, and the censorship that they apply, and that's been mentioned here. But the difference is that I can stop buying them, or I wrote letters to them and try my best to influence them. But I really believe the SABC is different in the sense that it's a public broadcaster. And I'm forced to pay license. My supporters are forced to pay license, and the definition is it's public, meaning having a service to everybody in public. I would like to concentrate on what I say, the news policy of the SABC, and then surely we come to censorship. Now, sir, a news agency's most important asset is its credibility. If you lose your credibility, you can look at resources, it'll be very difficult to get it back. And I'm worried that that's what's happening at the moment at SABC. Now, the debate started, as I collected from outside, was the debate on broadcasting of violence and or the instigation of violence just by being part or being there as a camera. Now, if I may say so, I was a professor in communication and journalism before I came to politics, and it's a valid debate. There's a lot of arguments out there. Do the camera start it, etc. So surely we can debate that, and there's some rules we can apply. But I'm afraid that was only the tip of the iceberg that we saw happened. And I think when we looked at Mr. Jimmy Matthews, what happened to him and what he said afterwards, and to the 7-8 journalists that was fired in a sense, I think that demonstrates a much bigger problem. And you can look at the Freedom Front's reaction to that, and I really think it's sad that we say only white here or whatever. We fought for all of them because we really believe in freedom of speech. Now, I think that demonstrated the problem, and that's my big worry about the SABC. You know, the strongest censorship in any organization is what I call self-censorship. What is that? That means because of subtle pressures from above, from the head, from the editors, from the top, even from government. You know you must do this and this, and being politically correct or whatever, and not doing your job properly. And I think that's what's happening at the SABC. And for the first time, the tip of the iceberg, we saw this when these people were sort of fired in a sense. Now, I can give you a lot of examples, and there's not time of them, but I see a censorship there. But maybe just then from a personal experience, maybe it's more credible. At the SABC, for example, there was a radio phone-in program on issues concerning us and concerning me in a certain sense. When I phoned in, I was told, if you are Peter Mulder from the Freedom Front, you're not allowed to take part in this debate. My colleague, Dr. Groenewald, 2 weeks later, phoned in on an issue that's very exactly on his field, and he had the same reaction. I wrote a letter to the radio station and tried to explain, and they came back to me, but there was no real explanation. Even in the elections, and I'm sorry I'm talking from my perspective, but maybe there's other examples, much better ones I can give you. After the election was 3 months going, I had to write a letter to the SAB news staff to say, and to give them statistics, how Freedom Front Plus, as my party, was totally ignored. No coverage, no whatever. I'm not the biggest party, but if you look at the results in the end, we came 5th in South Africa. So surely it justified covering some of our actions or having some reporting somewhere. But it's all going back what I call very subtle censorship coming from above. And I think therefore this a journalist became a symbol of that in a certain sense. And I think it's a bit sad if I listen, I would like to ask my question of that as well, to say the fraud people that got fraud and this is in the same package. I would really like to see, I see it totally different. Now, as I said, I was part of this committee. I was part of when we drafted some of the bills from the SABC on ICASA, and there's a big debate on the role of the SABC because it's a very difficult one. And I must add, sir, being away for many years, I listened to the minister, I listened to the spokesperson on behalf of the board, and I'm afraid, and I'm going to talk some politics, they did not get the message from the voters out there. What was the message from the voters in the metros? The message was that they punished the ANC for what they experienced as arrogance. That's what I experienced, and that's the message they gave to me. I listened to the minister. She came out fighting, not as the minister, as an ANC politician. It's all right, she can do that. But I'm afraid that's not going to solve our problems, not even throwing the racial card as she did. And the same with the spokesperson from the SABC. I'll have to debate with him whether the SABC is owned by government, is it a government broadcaster, or is it a public broadcaster? I think there's a difference. I'm very sort of disturbed when I get to the SABC in the lobby. There's a picture of the president and the minister. That's in all state departments, you'll get that. I don't think it ought to be in the SABC. Not the way I see it as an independent public broadcaster, not being financed by government. Because the argument is, at this stage, just over 50% of the people voted for the ANC, that is the government. What about the others? The other 50, does SABC represent them as well, or only public broadcaster on that one side? So, sir, if I'm to conclude, I really believe inquiry is necessary again, if only to define the role and the responsibility of the SABC as a public broadcaster for all the people. We all pay license fee. I'm forced to pay license fee. I cannot stop and say I don't want to pay that. They say 3% of money comes from government. That's correct. But that's tax money, sir. It's my money. It's not ANC money. It's tax money. So in that sense, again, we'll have to debate that and make sure what is the role, and then come to censorship, because surely there must be some control over that to be fair. So my question will be, do they really see the 8 journalists and their situation the same as the fraud cases? Is it exactly the same? And then government broadcast, public broadcast. Do they see that it's the same thing, or is there a difference between the two? And why can't we then have a discussion on the role of SABC for the future? We had that in the past. On the finances specific, we had long debates, going to the BBC, all over the place, how a public broadcaster must be financed. And the big problem is, the moment government starts financing it, then government wants to control it, of course. And there's a lot of measures, as BBC and those, where government maybe can give money once in every 5 years, there's no control, there's no back to ensure the independence of the public broadcaster. Do we see SABC as an independent public broadcaster, or is it becoming a government ANC broadcaster? We need to know that, because that will change a lot of strategy in the future. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Honorable Kalako.
Thank you, Chair. Maybe, Chair, as a parliament as a whole, will need a debate on what actually is SABC and its role. Because I'm sure as different parties, we tend to see it differently with different eyes. But I think, Chair, I won't get into issues which are directed to the presenters. But I want just to commend SABC on one thing, their coverage of these elections. Whether you like it or not, I think you must actually also, as SABC, maybe explain to us the allocation of time to parties during elections, so that I know this has been a question which every election, every time's come up, but I think you must remind us on that. Because to me, the way you covered, it was fair and balanced. And also, I don't want to forget the IEC, the way it have, I think we should congratulate the IEC, the way it handled these elections and it finalized them, despite maybe some negligent problems here and there. But Chair, I want just to get to the issues. You know, the SABC as a public broadcaster, everybody is interested to it. And it's true what James is saying. If SABC does not implement those programs which are for the public, most people won't be able to know what is happening in the country, because not everybody's got money for pay TV. That is one thing clear. But what I want us to clear on, so that these issues are clear, I don't think we must actually hide anything and leave issues hanging. I'm sure at some stage, Chair, we'll want to interface with this board, with the minister, so that we understand whether the board is there, whether the board is correcting, what decisions is taking, because out there, what is presented of your face, different from what you are presenting here, and to the public. And the only thing which will take those things away is when we actually interfaces this committee with you, so that we can actually ask all these questions on, because you are custodians of the editorial policy and all this policy there. So to me, maybe when we will have time to do that as Parliament. And also, I would like just to James, to actually come back to this issue of, because look, there's no doubt about transformation. That is our objective. We fully agree with you. Those areas of SABC which are still conservative, are still in the hands of people who are actually who are resisting transformation. You have to be seized with that problem. On that, I fully agree with you. If IT or engineering, you have all those problems, you'll have to deal with them, because we are going to actually again ask you, what are you doing about them? So, but to me, I will want you to, because, you know, unfortunately for the SABC, you can cry foul on leaks. That's a problem with leaks. But once that information is there in the public domain, all of us were the first who will be running and asking the Minister, what is this? What is happening? Of us calling you as a management, top leadership, and of calling the board, going to the board to account of what is happening. So to me, it's very vital that when you have these platforms, as you have done so far, to actually give us a benefit of doubt. You explain these issues, you know, like the one which was on Sunday Times just recently, and which you have just mentioned, and like on this, why do you have to go outside? And I'll like you to come back to that point in particular, because that's where SABCs are. And without us knowing why do you, when you have a structure responsible for that, but you actually decide to go for consultants. So to me, those areas are important. Once a thing is there on the public domain, you must gear yourself, make sure that you give correct information back to the public through us and the minister in Parliament, so that these issues are put into bed. Because if you are not doing that, the perception will be there. You know, but most people, we don't, realize how many people SABC employs. We think it's you when we see you, and then we listen to radio. Those few people talking on radio, people we see on TV. We don't know how many people you are dealing with daily And also, I'll encourage you, be very strict on, there's no organization which is not strict on its internal processes and confidentiality when people have actually committed themselves in their contracts. So those issues, I think you must be very much make sure that we are able to actually deal. And also be specific on these programs where you spend money you don't have. Not just be general, say, no, it's a public responsibility. Or just to say, tell us, we are not given money when we have to do 1, 2, 3, 4. When are all these big government, national events, there's no money coming from treasury. And what effects does it have? So that we understand what we are saying exactly. So, Chair, to me, jumping for inquiry without engaging these structures, you want to bring everybody, you say stakeholders. Don't know who stakeholders we are talking about. Yes, the board, you have a right to call it. You have powers. Here with the minister, yes, the SABC management, we have only when we are not satisfied that we will request Parliament for that, as we are discussing now. That is why all this, what is rumors, what goes on papers as leaked information or sources, we must first engage with them. It's only when we are not satisfied we'll call those people. They come before the committee itself with that information. So to me, I don't see a reason for jumping to an inquiry. Which inquiry? That is why even last week we said there are processes. Here's the SABC. She says she's not satisfied. She has only, her own interpretation. Maybe it will be helpful to the committee if she can tabulate to us and bring it and table to us. These are the areas I think the SABC, the minister, and the board are not giving, are misleading us, are not giving. This is the information. Based on that information, we'll pursue it with them. I don't think there's anything we're afraid of or want to be hidden away from the public, especially here in Parliament. Thank you, Chair.
Thanks, Honorable Kalako. Member?